Hello, this is Low Skill Camper with my Arma 3 PvP tutorial. In this video I want to talk about technical aspects of being an effective Arma 3 PvP player. I mostly play King of the Hill, but what I'm going to say here is applicable to other PvP modes too. First, bigger screen with higher resolution is better. I personally use a 42-inch TV located in about 70 cm from my eyes. It has Full HD resolution, but I effectively render 4K image by using 200% in-game supersampling. Watch Nvidia DSR presentation if you wonder how this effect can make the image clearer. I tried DSR itself, and though the result looks much better, it is much less stable than in-game supersampling. That's how you can configure DSR if you want to try it by yourself. I've considered buying a 4K TV specifically for Arma 3, but decided against it for now. If you want to use a TV as a screen, do not forget to switch it to game mode. It disables additional image filtering on the TV side and reduces latency. The default FOV is too low for good situational awareness, especially for bigger screens. I know of 3 good ways to increase FOV. The first is by configuring FOV top and FOV left values in your profile config file. The drawback is that it also changes scope magnification, which is especially sensitive if you use RCO family of scopes for longer range shooting. While the center point stays in place, all additional range marks of the reticle do move a bit. This may not be a big deal because if you use a suppressor or do not use scopes with correct rounds, like 6.5mm for RCO and ARCO and 5.56 with MRCO and ERCO, then it is broken for you anyway. The second and the better way to change FOV is by using an unsprung controller axis mapped to continuous zoom and out in your game controls. This allows you to change FOV on the fly and does not change scope magnification. I have a spare axis on my joystick for this. If you don't, you can buy a used broken joystick with a working and not jittery throttle axis. Maybe some kind of virtual joystick can be used too. The easiest way is to just double tap zoom out button. This does not give you fine control, but is good enough for most situations. Bigger screen located at normal for PC display distance combined with higher FOV gives you an effect of adding periphery to a normal sized display, be it with lower PPD resolution. When you can see individual pixels, you can detect very small movements. And when you aim down sights using my second or third suggested approach to FOV configuration, your FOV goes to normal, giving you much more detail to see, making shots like these possible. While configuring graphics, prioritize performance, but do not sacrifice resolution and try to have at least 1.5 km view distance to be able to kill snipers. You need to have at least 40 FPS most of the time. Venzor have made a good guide on this. In his video he shows some settings which are critically important to PvP and should not be lowered. I will have a link in the description. I personally use higher settings because I want my videos to look better. Do not use anti-aliasing, especially if you can afford supersampling or DSR. Anti-aliasing blurs your image and can hide small movements from your side. Consider increasing color saturation in graphical settings. It visually decreases difference between colors and helps a bit to see camouflaged players, like bush campers. I've tried increasing contrast too, and though it helps in daytime, it makes it very difficult to see anything except horizon in twilight. I have a couple of recommendations on setting up your in-game profile. Your profile name should be short and easy to read by people with different language backgrounds. Sometimes I just see an enemy killing my teammate and can do nothing because I just cannot call out teammate's name fast enough. Consider using a camouflaged face skin. A bright spot easily breaks otherwise perfect camouflage. Camouflaged faceware configured in your profile will not translate to most of PvP game modes. Don't forget to turn GPS on while playing. It greatly increases situational awareness. Use a good mouse with additional buttons. I am using Logitech G27 with 5 additional buttons mapped to changing scope zeroing, scope magnification and ranging with a rangefinder. It is rather cheap and good enough. Another advantage of having zoom in button on a mouse is an ability to zoom to look at something without holding your breath. This conserves your breath for actual shooting. Mouse sensitivity should be as high as possible while still allowing you to effectively aim at 200-meter targets with red dot sight. In my opinion, this is a good compromise between accuracy and an ability to turn around fast in close quarters. Venzor have helped me to find this ideal. Maybe it will not be suitable to you though. I encourage you to experiment. Now I'll give you some hardware recommendations. Arma 3 is a CPU-bound game. You ideally need a 4-core CPU with as high frequency as you can get. 3.5 GHz or above is good enough. Not to have your game stuttering while turning around fast, you'll need 16 GB of memory and an SSD. 8 GB of memory may be enough if your system memory usage is optimized. For a graphics card, GTX 750 Ti is commonly considered to be an acceptable minimum, but my switch from GTX 970 to GTX 1070 was still noticeable at ultra-high settings. Sound is very important. You'll need some kind of surround sound solution. I've considered buying a physical 7.1 headset with multiple drivers, but to my surprise found out that software emulated surround sound works very well. Maybe even better than physical, as 2 big drivers in ordinary headphones give better overall sound quality than 6 or more small ones. The difference between normal sound and surround sound is huge. By default I can only tell was the shot left or right, but with surround sound I know direction within about 10 degrees. Windows 10 users like me can enable surround sound with 3 clicks by enabling Windows Sonic. For older Windows versions, free Razer Surround application can be used with the same results. Sound volume should be turned up as high as you are comfortable with, considering potential long-term hearing damage. To be able to hear footsteps and vehicle noises from far away while not being deafened by gunfire, you'll need headphones with good low-frequency performance. For me, Corsair HS50 is good enough. I perform much worse when I use my earplugs. Sound solutions integrated into motherboard tend to emit noise from electromagnetic emissions generated by CPU, hard drives, fans and other components. This may decrease your ability to hear faraway footsteps. Consider using an external sound card. My SoundBlaster OMEN works somewhat, but I cannot recommend it. If you are interested in more details, I am leaving my hardware configuration in the description. There is no paid promotion in this video. How about the effectiveness of all this? Of course, I can only give you very rough estimates. Playing on a laptop with normal FOV decreases my kill count by about 20 or 30%. Playing with 2 speakers instead of properly configured headphones will decrease my effectiveness by at least 50%. Mouse gives maybe about 10 or 20%. Other tweaks are relatively minor, but useful anyway. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this video will help you to improve. I encourage you to watch my other videos to evaluate the effectiveness of my advice. See you next time.